Hello, Barcelona fans. How you doing? This is Coach Jrod and Andrew Yacoub, and we're gonna do your post-match review for today's game, FC Barcelona versus Cadiz. Um, hey, you know, I'm gonna tell you right now. I didn't watch the game. I was getting all the notifications, but Andrew watched the game, and he's gonna give us the actual post-match review. I'm gonna ask him the questions, but it seems to be a rough one, and it seems to be some nice conversations here are gonna happen right now. Andrew, please, man, let's do this post-match review. Take it easy on my boys and your boys, but at the same time, let's wake them up a little bit, man. Let's start the way I always do it. Let's start with our front line, man. How did our front line play in this match today?
Well, I mean, it wasn't pragmatic and it wasn't prolific either. So we started with the 4-2-3-1 again. And we had Braithwaite up top in that number 9 position. And he's been pretty good the last couple of games. And then you have Griezmann in that center forward, and Coutinho was on the left, which was a surprise for me. And then you have Messi on the right. Messi tended to cut inside, so you didn't really have a lot of players going on to the right side to create more space. And Coutinho, he was pretty good out wide. I'm not gonna lie. We had, I'm surprised, he came out later, but
were they not doing the mesh? Because the past few games, man, I saw the mesh. Like when Messi will cut in, Griezmann will cut out, and Coutinho will cut back behind, and they were doing this.
Yeah.
Beauty. They didn't have that mesh today.
Not really, no. And I'll tell you why. Because they needed speed. That's what they needed against Cadiz. And that's what we had against Ferencváros in the weekend. When you saw Dembele and Jordi Alba linking up on the left side, they were going crazy. It was like pinball.
And right? Even Trincao and Dest on the other side.
Trincao and Dest were doing even on the other side.
Trincao, who couldn't buy a goal with a penny. He couldn't buy a goal.
Yeah, I know. But everybody has an off day, So
he did his best though. But but I get it. It's speed. Yeah. Okay, I get it.
And then you have, for me, Coutinho should have never came out of the game. He was probably one of the best players on the pitch. But when you have someone like Dembele, you really can't reject his opportunity to play. But when you notice that Braithwaite's not scoring, he's not really getting the ball at all. Messi was barely finding. He found Braithwaite in 5 to 7 minutes into the game. Great chance, saved by the Cadiz goalkeeper. By the way, I have to say, this Cadiz goalkeeper was absolutely crazy. Like, every time we had a good chance, this guy was on top of it. Save. Like, it was crazy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy we're never going to score. We're never going to score. So when we actually scored, it wasn't even our goal. It was an own goal. Because Jordi Alba was crossing the ball in, and the defender sticks out his leg, and the goalie's on the floor because he misplaced it. But for me, like I said, Coutinho, I don't think he should have came out. But when you have Dembele again, you're thinking that maybe he's going to pull out something like Ferencváros, where he's playing pinball.
Let me ask you a question. Could we have taken out Braithwaite, moved Griezmann forward, Coutinho to the back, and Dembele at the position? Would that have been?
I was thinking about it. I was thinking, maybe put Messi into that position, and then you put Dembele on the right. And I'll tell you why. Because if Coutinho stays on the left, he's still doing that whole intricate passing with Jordi Alba. And in the beginning of the game, Jordi Alba and Coutinho, they were doing pretty well. Yeah, the whole team wasn't, but them two in specifics, they were linking up pretty well, and they had the space wide. It was Serginho Dest on the right side. Whenever he was moving forward, he didn't have anybody to play with because Messi keeps cutting inside. He's not going back to the right. So when he's playing on that right side, he's isolated. He doesn't have any 1-2. You bring in Dembele in that spot, it's a whole different story.
Different story. They should have moved Messi into the middle. I get what you're saying. What about our midfield, man? How are the two guys in the midfield? How they do? The starters? How they do?
Busquets was terrible, man. Terrible.
Bad passes?
My man, the thing with Busquets is it wasn't even – he had created about 2-3 chances in about 7 minutes, which was good. But he misplaced a lot of his short passes. And they were common passes. You think like maybe, anybody could get them. And Griezmann did the same thing in the beginning of the game, the first half. He was misplacing passes. But the difference with Griezmann and Busquets is Griezmann tracked back to get the ball that he lost. And it happened a couple of times. Whenever he lost the ball, he would always track back. Busquets loses the ball, he can't run like 30 yards to catch up to the ball. He's running and running, and it looks like a Ferrari is slowing down, running out of gas. Like, oh, he starts off really fast, and then he's just like, and it was all for nothing.
Unfortunately, father time gets to all of us, man.
But Frankie de Jong, honestly, for me, it's not fair to tell what his purpose was in the team, because later in the game, Oscar Mingueza, he comes out, and Frankie de Jong kind of slots into the center back role, and Busquets is in front of him. And de Jong is usually the creative one now. For me, whenever I watch de Jong, it's always a positive, because he's always doing something. He's always creative. He's always creating something.
He's everywhere, man.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
Always everywhere. He's on his position a lot, but he is defense.
He covers for Busquets.
He cuts the other way. He covers for this one.
Yeah. Whenever Jordi Alba goes up, whenever Jordi Alba goes up or Busquets is up, he's covering both those positions at the same time. So when the other team's on the counterattack and Frankie de Jong is getting dominated by two players, I'm not going to put that on Frankie de Jong, because he doesn't have any support, Yeah. So for me, Frankie de Jong, he was just his normal game. But Busquets came out, and I think, Miralem Pjanic came in for Busquets. And for me, this was long overdue. Miralem Pjanic should have probably came in. He probably shouldn't have even came. He should have started the game. But even if he didn't start, he should have came in the 45th minute, because
the match of Ferencváros, Miralem Pjanic was absolutely amazing.
Phenomenal.
I'm surprised that he didn't start this one.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is. Maybe he has something with Coleman, or maybe he just, he's not ready yet, or I don't know what it is, but he has to be starting these games if we want to win, because he's that person that, and we saw it a couple times with Busquets in the first half. He's getting the ball on the edge of the box, and it's such a good time to just take the shot, just shoot. Make the goal, force the goal into a save, because then you have Braithwaite, you've got Griezmann, you've got Messi waiting for the ball in the box, just to pick up scraps. And he's not shooting. He'll wait and he'll look, and he wants to cross. And you can't play like that all the time. If you don't have the option and you're playing against 11 behind the ball, you're playing negative football, you're playing, a low block, then you have to be able to take that shot sometimes, and that's what Pjanic gives you, and Busquets doesn't. So
I think the change of the formation is Busquets not used to going up to do those kicks. He's always the holding midfielder, and always allowed the 4-3-3 always allowed the other two to be the front, and Busquets will always sit back. So now that Busquets has to go forward, I think it's changing his entire mentality. So he's still trying to get that pass instead of shooting for that goal. It makes sense. Let's go to the back, man, because I know from what you told me before this call, it was going to be an interesting one. Talk to me about the defense and the goalkeeper, man. What happened? What went wrong? If you could do this in 2 minutes, do it, man. If not, take extra. But what happened?
I'm gonna need Jesus to do this in 2 minutes. Okay, let's start with the fullbacks, because for me the fullbacks were probably the best part of the defense. Serginho Dest, I think he was pretty good today. He showed a pretty good performance. He wasn't bad. He was actually doing a lot. He was by himself, like I said. He was isolated on the right side, so he really couldn't do much. And he still was taking on, two players at a time and getting those crosses in. Yeah. So he was pretty good. I was surprised that he came off for I'm pretty sure he came off for Dembele. Yeah. So I was kind of annoyed when he came off for Dembele, but then again, you need that width. Oscar Mingueza, I don't remember what minute it was. The 8th minute of the game. Okay, the 8th minute of the game. We have a corner kick. For me personally, it's a free kick, because the forward for Cadiz, he has two hands on Mingueza, and you can see the shove. He just shoves him, and Mingueza he's on the floor. And, you can't just sit on the floor when you're defending a corner. So he tries to get up and clear the ball, but he ends up headering it the wrong way back to Ter Stegen. And Ter Stegen wasn't prepared for it. So Ter Stegen gets forced into a save. And then, you've got Alvaro Jimenez at the end of it, who blasts it into an open net. It's an easy goal. But for me, Oscar Mingueza, he was other than that, he was good the first 7 minutes I was watching. He was actually very, very, promising. Like, it wasn't anything like, oh, is there something wrong with him? No, first 7 minutes he was playing, he looked fine. He looked normal. And then it was just that moment, and then you saw his whole morale was just broken. Like, I felt so bad for the kid too, because he's just, it's this player who we all were like, oh, he's so good, he's so good. It's like he's never played for the first team before, and he's doing this, he's so good. And then all that, and then it just crashes down on him.
In one play.
Yeah, and it's sad, because then you have later in the second half, let me check what minute it was. You have Clement Longley in the 63rd minute. I'm not going to blame it 100% on Longley because it was a bad throw-in from Jordi Alba. But when you have Jordi Alba giving you a bad throw-in and you can't pass the incoming pressing attacker, just boot the ball.
Boot the
Boot it
ball.
upfield. Boot the ball, clear it, do whatever you need to do, shield it.
Clement they had a lapse in memory thing.
Shambolic. He got onto the field and he must have gotten dementia because he didn't remember how to defend for a good 2 minutes. He gets the ball from Jordi Alba in a throw-in, and he forgets how to control the ball. He forgets how to clear the ball. He forgets how to shield the ball, and all that 160K a week goes down the trash. But it doesn't matter because Ter Stegen's there, right? No, because he clears the ball and the incoming attacker is still pressing. So even when he loses the ball, Langley, he doesn't go and shield the ball so that Ter Stegen can make the clearance. He still stands there and watches the incoming forward take the ball from Ter Stegen, pass De Jong, make him slide on the floor. He literally put De Jong to bed on the floor. And he slots it into an empty net. And you're looking at Langley, and he's just standing there, hands on his hips, just watching. And I'm like, what more do you want? Some popcorn? Some pop? Do you need a chair? The front of the movie theater is open right now, so.
Man, I'm gonna be upset when I watch this recorded game, man, because I'm waiting. I had a game with my son, so I recorded it. Wow, so it was that bad. Let me ask you a question before we go into the substitutes. The refs. What do you? Were the refs solid refs? Did they do a good job, or you think they were, sometimes us fans tend to blame refs a lot.
Yeah. I'm not going to blame the ref for us losing because there's no question about it. We shouldn't have lost this game at all. Yeah. But at the end of the game, I think it was a free kick. Messi had a free kick, takes the shot, and it hits off of the hand. Actually, hits off the wall, and then it hits off the hand of a Cadiz player. And his hand wasn't close to his body. Yeah, he wasn't trying to hit the ball intentionally, but his hand is in an unnatural position.
But right? That's the rule, right? The rule is that. So that's a handball.
That's a handball. That's a penalty. Yeah. And the referee didn't look at it, didn't check VAR, didn't do anything. He kept the play going. And Barcelona, they didn't want to waste time, so they decided to take the corner kick and continue with the game. The game went on for another 3 minutes until the 94th minute when the ball went out for the goal kick. Goes out for a goal kick. The referee doesn't even stop play to check VAR again. He just continues on until the 95th, and then he calls the whistle in the 95th minute, and the game's done, which kind of pissed me off because if that was a penalty, that's a game-changing moment right there. You know? And on top of that, the referee has some moments where, these Cadiz players turned into PSG against Manchester United over the weekend. You're touching them, they drop. And there was one time where I could say definitively that, yes, the defender was in pain. And it was because Busquets came across and slapped one of the attackers in the face and his nose started bleeding. That's the only one I can tell you for sure that he didn't flop. Everybody else, you're watching the replay, he's coming across, doesn't even touch him. He comes across and he gets the ball and everything, and the referee's always on it. Free kick to Cadiz, free kick to Cadiz. And then, we had a moment with Griezmann in the first half where he didn't get touched, but he fell. We got the foul for that. But this referee, he wasn't anything, spectacular, but he wasn't anything, horrific either. So
how was the substitutions? How did Koeman do with the substitutions?
9 out of 10. That's what I can tell you. He brought in the right substitutes. The one substitute he misplaced was Pjanic for Busquets because he shouldn't have waited until the 78th minute to bring off Busquets. If anything, Pjanic should have started the game. And since he didn't start, Pjanic should have came into the 45th minute just like he did against Ferencváros last week or this past week. Busquets started that game. He was absolutely dreadful against Ferencváros in the first half. So, Pjanic coming in the second half, he did brilliantly. And I think that's what we should have done. Or at least, you've got Carlos Alenia, you've got, you've got Ricky Puig, you've got all these players, you got Pedri, you got Trincao. You can always use these guys in that same position because they're always versatile. All these players are versatile. They're not one-minded players. But when you wait that long and you've got a player like Busquets who doesn't like to shoot the ball, he always wants to pass, and he passes it sideways and he passes it backwards, and he waits on the ball. He doesn't want to get the through ball, and he wants to wait. And you're not going to get that kind of intensity and that quickness when you have that because you were sacrificing, getting your shot. Because like I said, they're in a low block. They're in 11 behind the ball. So if they're getting 11 behind the ball, your job basically, if the goalkeeper is doing phenomenally, is you hit the ball as hard as you can at the goalkeeper, force him into a save, force him to gobble it, and then you have, Braithwaite, Griezmann, Messi, Dembele, Coutinho, whatever, at the end of it to pick up the scraps and score the goal. And that's almost how how our only goal came into the night. We had a chance before the goal, actually. We had a chance where, you had, I don't remember who took the shot, but I think it was Griezmann or Messi, one of them. But he took the shot, forces the goalkeeper in a save. The goalkeeper spills it, but then you've got the Cadiz defender to clear the ball there. And that's really where Cadiz hurt, because they're clearing the ball, and they've got that one striker, whoever it was, Alvaro Gomez, Jimenez, or if it was, who's the other guy? Or if it was Alvaro Negredo. They're both Alvaros, but whatever, And you've got both of them are just cherry picking off the top of the Barcelona defensive line. And it's not offside because they're hitting the ball from their half over. So,
what you said about Busquets is absolutely true, man. And I mentioned this to you before. I said, the 4-3-3 works very well for a player like Busquets. The 4-2-3-1 does not work that well for a player like Busquets. That's what it seems to me like.
And on top of that, what's even more crazier? The 4-3-3 works better for a player like Frankie de Jong than Busquets. Because, yes, Busquets, he has that ability to distribute, and he has that ability to do whatever he needs. But if you think about it, if you put that 4-3-3 and you put De Jong in there, and then you put Pjanic and you put whoever else the other one is, maybe Carlos Soleño or Ricky Puig or Pedri, whoever you put in Coutinho, you can put in anybody in that spot.
Yeah.
But when you have that spot, you're gonna have this balance, because now you have speed, you have stamina, and you have distribution all locked in the midfield. When you have Busquets, you're losing your speed, you're losing your stamina, you're keeping your distribution. When you have Busquets and De Jong in that 4-2-3-1, again, you're literally wasting De Jong, because now he has to cover for Busquets and Jordi Alba, because Jordi Alba's in an advanced position.
Yeah.
Right? And he has to cover for two positions into the midfield and to the defense. And you're wasting his stamina, you're wasting the speed, and you're wasting the distribution, because now Busquets, he's getting slower and more tired at the end of the game, and he can't do the same thing he was doing in the 15th minute of the game. So,
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like I said, father time approaches us all, and it's Busquets time, as well as, all our guys, man, all our guys. It approaches Messi too. It's just Messi's that much of a genius that we don't see it.
And he was the best player on the pitch in the first half. He didn't do anything. He was the best player on the pitch in the first half. Like, his way of playing today was, I'm going to draw defenders to me and not do anything. Because the more I draw defenders to me, the more I can open up everyone. Yeah. But the problem was, every time he tried to draw defenders to him by getting the ball, he had his own teammates in his line of attack. So he's getting the ball like right outside the 18-yard box. But then you have Busquets and you have Griezmann and you have Felipe Coutinho. They're all in that area where Messi likes to go around and look for the pass over the top into the corners so that they can get the crossing. But, when you don't have players that are going into the box, and you don't have players that are doing that 1-2 on the sideline so they can get the cross in, then you're not going to have the ability to break a low block, because you need to stretch out the team. When the team is putting in a low block, they're compressing into the goal.
Gotcha.
Right? When you put the stretch on it, they have to stretch out this way, and now the whole team comes this way, and you can open that other side and go in and score. But then we just never saw that today.
Wow. I got to see this game, man. I wasn't able to see it, but I did want to do this post-match review for, all the fans at Barcelona Life, and that are always out there, reading your blogs and watching my videos.
Yeah.
I think this is really cool for them to see your perspective of the game, since I wasn't able to see it. But this is cool. Fans, look, listen, if you think there's other reasons why, Barcelona failed today, man, let us know in the comment section. Again, we love to hear from you guys. I know the Barcelona Life guys love to hear us all combine ourselves and talk about it, because, this is how we feel that we could make our team better too. Yep. We could give our opinions and make, hopefully, our Barcelona people are reading and listening to what we're saying. It's not over though, guys. This is the thing. It's not over yet. There's a long season, and this season is going to be a battle. It's going to be gladiator battle type situation. Nobody's a winner still. We got so much games to go.
I'm going to say something on top of it. I'm going to say that there's a reason that we're having these displays. And it's because we keep focusing on last season. And I'm telling you this because all our mistakes in these past couple games, we didn't concede any goal in the last 3 games because we played Osasuna, we played Dinamo Kiev, and we played Ferencvaros. We won 4-0, 4-0, and 3-0. But when you have a team that consists of players that lost a game in the quarterfinals to Bayern Munich 8-2, you're never going to forget that. Never, ever going to forget that. So when you have players like Longley, who was in that lineup, and he's just watching Alphonso Davies pass him else, and now you have, this team, and he's playing, he's going to remember that, and he's going to remember his mistake, and it's going to build up and build up. I can tell you right now, Ronald Koeman, what he's doing is he's doing all he can, because he's trying to get this team to focus on keeping the ball and without having to defend, because he knows that the defense of his team is in shambles. So what he's trying to do is put the focus away from defense by keeping the ball. Yeah. But when you have Longley and you have Mingueza and you have, sometimes even if it is PK, making that, or Sergio Roberto against Atletico Madrid, and you're making that mistake and you're pushing up too far, or you don't have enough defense in the back, or you just individually, you cannot stop the ball, or you forget how to defend.
It's almost like they need to get back their trust, and not only in each other, but in themselves.
Themselves.
I got you, man. This is but like I was saying, for all of us fans, man, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. Look, we got Champions League. I know for a lot of people it's like we're not the favorites. I don't worry about being favorites. All I know is this: I would rather be an underdog and win something and do it the way we want to do it. Right now, we're a bunch of young players who are learning how to play alongside Messi and all these veterans that we have. And I think this is going to be good when it clicks in. It clicked in very well for a couple of games. But whenever you bring in Messi back in and Piqué and all them, it changes things, and it has to click.
Especially the environment. Especially the environment that's going on right now. You have to have some kind of, leader, and you have to have some kind of stability and consistency. So what Coleman is trying to do right now is just to try and find that system that, it stays consistent throughout the games. Because if you're going to have a team that's winning 4-0 and 3-0 and 4-0 on one day against a low par team, and then lose 2-1 against a low par team, and you can't even say Cadiz is low par because now they're 5th place. They're in Europa League spot. So when you're losing to a team who just came out of Division 2 in La Liga, and in Liga Santander, then you just gotta give them time, because like I said again, you gotta give it time. Yeah,
you gotta give it time. But it's not over. It's not over.
Yeah,
it's not over.
The same mistake happened to Setien. We didn't give him any time. He didn't have any time to prepare because he was stuck in a pandemic, and everybody expected him to perform. And what happened. But besides the point, it's you have to give him time. You have to be patient. You have to be willing to go through the bad times to go through the good times. Because being a Barcelona fan, it's not about winning all the time. Because I'd rather have a positive game and lose. Like, even if we made mistakes today, we all know what the mistakes were. We can all focus on them in training and move on and better ourselves and have a better campaign, rather than win with a shaky defense like we have been in a couple of games this season where we've won, but it was a shaky team, and we wouldn't focus on it because, we already won, But it's better to lose and show your mistakes so that we can work on fix them by the next game, rather than to win and ignore them. So.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. This is fun stuff. Again, guys, I'm Coach Jrod, the usual. Andrew Yacoub here talking for us, doing this sweet post-match review, which was, I think it deserves the length of the talk, because we won 3 games and we lost this one, which we should have won. But don't lose the hope. Barcelona fans, don't lose the hope. Keep being Barcelona. Keep focusing on Barcelona. Let's give positivity to our players. They need that. They need to know that we're still there and we're not, just putting them down because they made 1 mistake or 2 mistakes in this case. Or a little more than 2 mistakes, but whatever, man. We gotta keep rocking it. We're gonna keep being fans as usual, because like we both agree, man, we're gonna be Barca fans for life. And we choose to believe, whether we win or lose, we're gonna choose to believe that we are doing the best we can to keep being FCB, okay? To keep being that club that everybody in this world loves. All right, at least a lot of people do. As usual, Forca Barca, Visca Barca, Barca fans for life. I choose to believe. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to have Andrew with me a few more times. hopefully in more videos here coming up. I hope you enjoy Andrew's commentaries and everything that he writes on his blogs. They're amazing stuff. You guys need to read him. This is fun stuff, man. I love it, and I give all my trust and love to the players, and I hope they keep sticking together. You learn from failures. That's the biggest thing. I hope they learn from their failures and come out more motivated to keep bringing it and keep winning games and hopefully bring us some championships, even if it's just one. But who cares, man? I'm still going for that
Trophy is a trophy. Yeah, trophy is a trophy.
I'm still going for a treble. Whatever.
Yep.
All right, man. As usual, Coach Jrod and Andrew, we out, man. I hope you enjoy it and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Boom.